The Galactic Council Chamber was an immense, circular space that stretched far beyond the reach of most species. Towering pillars of translucent crystal supported the chamber's enormous dome, which shimmered with the light of distant stars. Holographic projections of star systems, planets, and galactic maps floated throughout the room, constantly shifting in perfect harmony with the ongoing discussions. The air buzzed with quiet energy, a subtle reminder of the countless species, each with their own interests and priorities, that filled the room. This was the heart of the Galactic Federation, a loose alliance of hundreds of star systems and species. The Council met here to make decisions on issues ranging from galactic trade routes to interplanetary diplomacy, and the weight of those decisions was nothing short of immense. In the past, many had spoken of the day when Earth would join the Federation, but no one could have predicted how contentious that moment would become. It all began with a single transmission from Earth, humanity's first real proposal for membership in the Galactic Federation. After centuries of turmoil and strife, humanity had finally united under a single global government known as the United Earth Union UU. Their message was simple. Earth was ready to join the interstellar community, eager to shed its violent history and participate in galactic cooperation. The Federation had long been divided on the question of Earth's potential membership. Some had hoped that humanity's capacity for growth would eventually overcome its violent past, while others feared that Earth's history of war, colonialism, and environmental destruction would be an ongoing threat to the stability of the Federation. The proposal was not accepted with open arms. A debate erupted immediately among the delegates. Some were sympathetic to the idea of offering humanity a chance at redemption, while others were deeply skeptical. The threat of Earth's volatile history resurfaced at every turn, and many feared that, given the opportunity, humanity would return to its old ways. It was during this heated debate that Delegate Vaxer from the Xander system stood up and made his now famous remark. The Xantarians were a species of highly intelligent, emotionally reserved beings known for their logical approach to galactic matters. They rarely spoke unless it was absolutely necessary, and when they did, it was often with a calm, measured tone. But Vaxer was different. Unlike many of his colleagues, who were content to view Earth's history as a series of events that could easily be forgotten or ignored, Vaxer had taken the time to study the planet's troubled past. He had seen the scars of nuclear war, the environmental collapse, and the violent conflicts that had plagued humanity for centuries. He knew that the humans were only now beginning to recover from these dark times. He understood that the Federation could not afford to make a decision about Earth's membership in haste. And so, he had stood before the Council, his long, blue tendrils undulating slightly as he spoke. His voice, rich and commanding, echoed through the chamber. This plan, he began, the one to invade Earth and force its compliance. This is not only illogical but outright insane. The room fell silent. Vaxer's words were met with a stunned gasp from several delegates, while others exchanged nervous glances. To question the Federation's official stance in such a manner was not only unusual, it was practically unheard of. The idea of an invasion was, for some, a necessary measure to ensure that humanity would not pose a threat to galactic peace. But Vaxer's challenge was not only a condemnation of the plan, it was an affront to the very idea of aggression in the name of peace. He continued, his tone unwavering. I understand the fears that many of you have regarding Earth. I understand the temptation to view their violent past as an inevitable sign of future destruction. But to act out of fear, to invoke an invasion, is to abandon our principles. We are the Galactic Federation, and we cannot resolve our differences through violence. That is not who we are. The words resonated through the chamber, silencing many of the voices that had been clamoring for action. Vaxer's words cut to the heart of the debate. Should the Federation stand by its core values, or should it bend to the fear of Earth's past and act with overwhelming force? The question was simple, but the answer was not. Vaxer, you speak of principles, but what of our responsibility to the galaxy? The voice came from Delegate Fen Collier, a soft-spoken, calm representative from the Cerulean system. He was a telepath, and his species was known for its commitment to diplomacy. We cannot afford to be naive. Earth may have the potential to contribute to the Federation, but it also has the potential to destroy everything we have worked for. Its history is a dark one. The nuclear wars, the environmental collapse, the countless conflicts, these are not things we can simply ignore. Fenn's words were measured, but they carried weight. The council chamber was filled with members who, like Fenn, believed that peace was the Federation's primary goal, but who also recognized that some species posed a greater risk than others. Earth, with its violent past, was one of those species. Vaxer's tendrils rippled in agitation, but he did not let Fenn's words sway him. He knew that the Ceruleans, like many others, were acting out of caution, but that caution was rooted in fear, not reason. The Federation has faced such challenges before, Vaxer replied, his voice steady. We have faced species with darker histories than Earth's, and we have helped them rise above their past. The Torgli system, for example, was once a war-torn planet. It now stands as one of the most peaceful members of the Federation. Why should Earth be any different? Fenn's eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, another voice rang out. Because Earth is different, said Delegate Gravoa, a reptilian figure from the star system, his voice thick with skepticism. The Torgli system was isolated, contained. Earth, however, is a wild card. Its technology has the potential to wreak havoc on a galactic scale. What if they decide to wage war on their neighbors once again? What if they bring their wars with them? The reptilian delegate's words hit with the weight of a heavy stone. Gravoa was no stranger to conflict. His species had fought countless battles to secure their place in the Federation, and the scars of those wars were still visible in his hardened expression. Vaxer met his gaze without flinching. And what if they don't? What if they've learned? What if Earth's history of destruction has taught them the value of peace? To doubt that potential is to deny them the chance to prove themselves. But Gravoa was unyielding. The Federation has no room for such risks. It cannot afford to take that chance. The tension in the room was palpable. Delegates from various systems exchanged looks, unsure of how to proceed. Some had already made up their minds, their fear of Earth's past outweighing any potential for peace. Others, like Vaxer, believed that the future was not written in the past, but in the choices made by each individual and species. The debate raged on, but Vaxer Drell's mind was already made up. He would continue to fight for Earth's chance at redemption, no matter the cost. And so the stage was set. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, and the Galactic Council had a choice to make. Would they stand by their principles, or would they give in to fear? The outcome of this debate would shape not only Earth's future, but the future of the entire galaxy. Vaxer Drell knew one thing for certain. The decision to invade Earth would go down in history as either the greatest mistake or the most defining moment in the Federation's existence. And he would fight with every fiber of his being to make sure it was the latter. As the Galactic Council continued its debate over Earth's fate, the atmosphere within the chamber grew increasingly tense. Vaxer Drell, standing at the center of the debate, had made his stance clear. Earth deserved a chance at redemption. But the more the conversation progressed, the more it became evident that his was a lonely position. The majority of the council members were swayed by the fear of Earth's violent past, and they were hesitant to take the leap into the unknown. Still, Vaxer's words had sparked something, an uneasy questioning of the Federation's stance, a realization that perhaps they had all been too quick to dismiss the potential of a species on the brink of a new era. As the session continued, one delegate after another spoke, their voices echoing in the massive chamber. And yet, despite the growing divisions, Vaxer's resolve remained unwavering. The debate, at its heart, was about more than just Earth's fate. It was about the Federation's values. Could they afford to act out of fear, or should they hold fast to their guiding principles of peace, unity, and cooperation? Vaxer's voice, deep and resonant, rose again, cutting through the clamor of voices. We speak of fear of potential threats, but what do we really know of humanity's future? They stand on the edge of something new, something none of us could have foreseen. Their technology has advanced in ways that were once unimaginable. They are seeking not domination, but cooperation. Does that not deserve our support? But Gravoa, the reptilian delegate from the star system, was having none of it. We have seen what happens when a species with a violent past is granted power it cannot control. The Torgli system may have evolved, but Earth's record is not one of redemption. It is one of repeated mistakes. A species that nearly destroyed itself in nuclear wars is a species that cannot be trusted. Delegate Yarana, a soft-spoken but highly respected member of the Federation from the peaceful Jinnah system, spoke up, her voice calm but firm. I agree that Earth's past is troubling, but we must not judge a species solely by its history. The very core of the Federation is about growth and transformation. If we close the door to a species simply because of what they were, we risk becoming the very thing we've sworn to avoid, an exclusive, judgmental empire, rather than a cooperative union of species. Her words seemed to calm the room for a moment, and several delegates nodded in agreement. Yarana was known for her wisdom, and her influence was significant. Still, the tension was far from dissipating. Fen Collier, the telepathic delegate from Cyrilia, continued the discussion. We cannot afford to ignore the threat, however small, that Earth might pose. They may come with goodwill now, but what happens when their ambitions grow, as they inevitably will? The Federation cannot afford to be complacent. What if their history of violence reemerges? We must protect the galaxy from that possibility. Vaxer's gaze never wavered, even as he faced Fen and Gravoa's skepticism. And what if they don't? What if Earth's people have learned? We can't imprison them in the past. If we act out of fear, we may very well push them back into that violent cycle. Our role is not to control them, but to guide them. A quiet murmur rippled through the room. Despite the growing division, the weight of Vaxer's words had struck a chord with many. The Federation, after all, had risen from the ashes of wars long past. It was built on cooperation, not domination. And yet, the fear of humanity's potential for destruction was still a powerful force within the Council. Gravoa snarled, his reptilian eyes narrowing as he spoke again. You speak of guidance, but the Federation has always acted in self-preservation. We cannot risk the safety of our citizens, our way of life, for the sake of some misguided hope. Humanity is too dangerous. Vaxer's tendrils twitched in irritation. You would rather wage war on a species that has just begun to show signs of peace? To act in anger, rather than reason, is to betray everything we stand for. The debate seemed to stall at this impasse. The council members were locked in a battle of ideals, between those who believed that Earth's potential for peace outweighed its violent past, and those who feared the worst and sought to take preemptive action. And then, from the far side of the chamber, a voice broke through the cacophony of arguments. I agree with Vaxer. The words were simple, yet they sent shockwaves through the chamber. It was Delegate Ryanox, a representative from the LFR system, known for its strict neutrality and conservative policies. Ryanox had always been an ally of Gravoa and Fen, and his decision to side with Vaxer was unexpected. There is something to be said for redemption, Ryanox continued, his deep, gravelly voice calm yet resolute. We must allow Earth the opportunity to prove itself. If we close that door, we risk losing a species that may one day help us build a truly united galaxy. Their strength lies not in their past, but in their willingness to change. Gravoa's eyes flared with indignation, but before he could respond, another delegate, Omari Zyla from the Astron system, spoke up. I too agree with Ryanox. If we act with fear, we risk pushing Earth into the very corner we're trying to avoid. Instead, we should offer them a chance, a probationary period. Let them prove themselves worthy of Federation membership. But we must remain vigilant. This is not about trust. It's about ensuring that we don't make the same mistakes of the past. The words resonated deeply with several members of the Council, and slowly, the tide seemed to shift. The debate was far from over, but a new proposal was beginning to take shape. One that offered Earth a chance, but with conditions. It would not be a full membership, but a period of probation. The Council would observe humanity's actions and determine if they truly could be trusted. If they succeeded, Earth would be welcomed into the Federation. If they failed, they would be excluded. Vaxer Drell felt a glimmer of hope. It was not the outright acceptance he had hoped for, but it was a step in the right direction. The Federation was willing to give humanity a chance to prove that they could indeed change. Later, as the session drew to a close, Vaxer stood by the window of his chamber, looking out at the stars. He felt a sense of cautious optimism. There would be challenges ahead. Earth's future was uncertain, and the Federation would be watching closely. But for now, humanity had been given an opportunity, and that was more than anyone had expected just a few hours ago. As Vaxer turned away from the window, he knew that the fight for Earth's place in the galaxy was far from over. But he also knew that, for the first time, the Federation was beginning to see Earth not as a threat, but as a species with potential. A species worth guiding, not conquering. And that was a victory worth celebrating. In the days following the Galactic Council's historic decision, Earth was given a rare and unique opportunity. A probationary period in which they would demonstrate their ability to contribute to galactic peace and cooperation. The decision was far from a full endorsement. It was a careful, measured step, one that both the Federation and humanity would have to navigate with caution. The United Earth Union UU, which had just begun to recover from its turbulent past, found itself caught in a whirlwind of hope, fear, and uncertainty. Earth had long been a species torn between conflict and cooperation, torn between the ideals of unity and the bitter legacy of violence. Now, standing at the threshold of the greater galaxy, they faced their greatest challenge yet. Vaxer Drell, the Xantarian delegate who had championed humanity's cause, found himself at the center of a new storm. The Federation had granted Earth a chance, but the path forward was uncertain, fraught with the possibility of failure. No one knew whether humanity could live up to the high expectations set before them. Vaxer's belief in Earth's potential remained unshaken, but even he was keenly aware of the difficulties ahead. The Federation's conditions were clear. Earth would be granted limited access to galactic resources, technology, and trade during this probationary period, but they would be under constant observation. Any signs of aggression, conflict, or betrayal would result in immediate expulsion. The pressure on humanity was immense, and their every move would be scrutinized. In the United Earth Union's capital city, New Geneva, the leaders of humanity were already at work. The UN General Assembly convened in a special session to discuss the Federation's decision. President Miranda Lark, a charismatic and fiercely intelligent leader who had helped guide Earth's unification, stood before the Assembly, ready to address her people and the global representatives. "We stand at a crossroads," President Lark said, her voice strong yet tinged with the weight of the moment. "The Galactic Federation has given us an extraordinary opportunity. It is not a gift. It is a test of our character, our commitment to peace, and our ability to prove that humanity can rise above the mistakes of its past." Her words were met with a mixture of hope and skepticism. Some within the Assembly were eager to embrace the chance, seeing it as a turning point for humanity. Others, however, were more cautious, fearful that joining the Federation would mean abandoning Earth's sovereignty or being swallowed up by forces beyond their control. "How can we be sure that we will not repeat the mistakes of the past?" questioned a representative from the Mars colonies, an area known for its pioneering spirit, but also for its own troubled history of colonization and rebellion. The Federation's decision is based on goodwill, but goodwill has its limits. What happens if we fail? What will they do to us? President Lark took a deep breath, knowing the weight of the question. Failure is not an option. We must prove ourselves. But we must also remember that we are not doing this alone. Vaxer Drell and others within the Federation believe in us. We must honor that faith by showing the galaxy that we are capable of being part of something greater than ourselves. Her speech resonated with many, but the concerns remained. What if Earth's darker history, its legacy of war, resurfaced? The specter of Earth's violent past, From the nuclear conflicts of the 21st century to the colonial wars that had scarred humanity's history, loomed large. Could Earth truly change, or would it repeat its mistakes? Meanwhile, Vaxer sat in his quarters aboard the Galactic Federation's flagship, the Satrara, as the reports from Earth began to trickle in. He had worked tirelessly to bring humanity into the fold, to offer them a chance to redeem themselves. But now, the hard work was just beginning. Earth's leaders had committed to a path of peace, but the real test was whether they could keep that promise. The Federation's surveillance on Earth was not meant to be overt. There were no fleets of ships watching the planet, no spies in every corner. Instead, it was a quiet monitoring, watching Earth's actions, its policies, its interactions with other systems. The slightest deviation from peaceful intentions could be seen as a sign that humanity was unfit for membership. Vaxer's holographic interface flickered to life in front of him, displaying the latest reports. It was clear that President Lark was doing her best to unite humanity, to make peace with its past. But the road ahead would not be easy. There were still factions within Earth that viewed the Federation's oversight as an infringement on their sovereignty. Some radical groups, particularly among the remnants of Earth's old military-industrial complex, opposed any form of galactic integration. They saw the Federation's involvement as an existential threat, and they had already begun to rally, calling for resistance. Vaxer frowned. The stakes were higher than ever. If these factions were allowed to grow in power, they could derail the fragile progress humanity had made. The Federation could not afford to allow another war to erupt on Earth, not when the whole galaxy was watching. Back on Earth, President Lark and her team were dealing with their own challenges. Though the majority of Earth's population supported the Federation's decision, there was a growing resistance, a vocal minority who believed that Earth's sovereignty would be undermined. This was especially true within the military-industrial sectors, which had long been a powerful force in shaping Earth's policies. President Lark, "There's been a rise in protests in the United States and Russia," said General Jameson, one of Lark's closest advisors. "They claim that our decision to join the Federation is a surrender, that we're giving up our ability to defend ourselves. There's talk of forming an armed resistance, especially in the military ranks." Lark's expression darkened. The last thing Earth needed was internal division. The Federation was watching, and any signs of insurrection could be disastrous. "We must maintain control of the narrative," President Lark replied firmly. "We cannot allow these voices of dissent to overshadow the greater good we're trying to achieve. We need to engage with them, show them that the Federation is not a threat, but an opportunity." It was a delicate balance. On one hand, the Federation offered the promise of advanced technology, peace, and prosperity. On the other, there were those who viewed it as an existential threat, a way for Earth's influence to be subsumed into a galactic order that they could not control. Lark knew that to move forward, she would need to make a decisive decision soon. Would she take a hard line against the resistance, or would she attempt to negotiate and find common ground? The pressure was mounting, both from within and outside Earth. The Federation was waiting. Vaxer, somewhere among the stars, was waiting. And Earth had one chance to prove itself. On the Satrara, Vaxer stared out at the stars once more. The next few months would be crucial. There were those within the Federation who doubted humanity's ability to reform, but he still believed. It was not just about peace. It was about growth, about allowing the species to prove that it could change. Earth had taken the first step, but there were many more to take. As the Satrara cruised through the vast emptiness of space, Vaxer made a silent promise. He would not give up on humanity, no matter how difficult the journey ahead would be.